My name is George Benavides, and I'm a targeted veteran. I have special powers. Thanks to my government, the Department of Defense, and now they're trying to kill me. I'm attacked by a neighborhood coup. I am broadcasting my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the government is trying to make you like me. They're trying to microchip you, implant you, to steal your thoughts like they've done to me. Okay? It's a cloud war. They're all watching above. And they want to microchip you to make you a prodigy as they've done to me. Broadcasting my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I am remotely controlled by a fucking satellite, a fucking antenna. They're stealing my thoughts. They're stealing my ideas. Who do you think makes profit off the fucking bullshit? Off the scheme of implanting Americans? Because when I go to bed at night, my mind doesn't shut off. It's still broadcasting to society. And you're stealing my ideas and you're stealing my thoughts. How many of you think that at night that you create something on your mind that's being broadcasted? It could be a patent. It could be an idea. But the people upstairs, Elon Musk's Neuralink, all the rest of the goddamn cronies are stealing your ideas and making a profit overnight, building the idea overnight while you're asleep. They're mind thieves. And they've been doing this to me for over 32 years without my consent. They've made movies, they've made songs, they've made videos off of my mind for 32 fucking years. And what the government has done is wrongfully diagnosed my ass, paid me to cover up an act of federal espionage and federal bribery. So help me God. Is ESP correct? Is it true? Sure it's true. Is microchip correct? Sure it's true. Okay? And I'm here to show you. There are people that have special powers for a long time. And the government is invested in the technology. That's why they're not stopping it. It's in violation of our 4th and 5th Amendment rights. You have to have a warrant to spy on someone like me for over 32 years. If you don't have a warrant and you don't have a contract and you don't have my consent, you're in deep trouble. Okay? I don't consent to the bullshit. Never have and never will. Who in the fuck is going to consent to be spied on for over 32 years and be tortured by a goddamn coup? Are you crazy? They're making a profit off my mind. Is ESP real? Yeah. And they won't give me credit for it. They're not giving me credit. They won't allow me to patent my mind. I mean, they've literally hijacked my mind. They've stolen my mind, turned the key to true psychology. I am the father of true psychology, so help me God. You're watching everything with a fucking TV, with a satellite, a drone, and geofencing, watching me as I broadcast my thoughts. I am a fucking walking TV station, and I don't need an FCC license, so help me God. Fox News, CNN, radio commercial, when they broadcast information, they need to apply for a license. And if it's approved, you get an approval to broadcast TV stations or music online. I don't need that. Never have and never will. It's against the fucking law. There was once a guy, I think this has been debunked. There was a guy who tried to say, well, he is a parapsychologist. He's a parapsychologist of reading people's mind. And there was a guy by the name of Joseph Bank Rhines, a veteran who predicted that you'd be able to read people's minds. This is for the courts. He predicted Joseph Bank Rhines predicted that one day you'll be able to read people's minds. By sitting down face to face and using Joseph Bank Rhines who predicted that one day you'll be able to read people's minds. And what he did to his theory is he applied to his theory, the Zenocard test. He used the Zenocards, he used a series of colors and numbers. He used a series of numbers and colors and symbols to allow them to broadcast that information to people. That's what he used, Zenocards. Yellow, red, blue, black, and green. He used those series of patterns, to try to predict them and manipulate the peoples that he was studying. But is that debunked? People are hearing implants and noises in people's heads for over 72 years. Is this theory incorrect? Okay, because I'm hearing voices now. They're piping noises into my head. Okay, you're a ghost. You're a ghost. I'm a ghost. Yeah, so what? The government hasn't done anything about it, but they will. So, using colors to manipulate the people's minds was debunked. I debunked the son of a bitch. I'm using colors right now, yellow. And every time I think yellow, I think of a best friend. And every time I think of my best friend, the sun comes out. It gets hotter. And every time I don't think of that friend again, I begin to get tortured. Reminding the government, reminding the people to think of the color yellow. Because if I don't think of the color yellow, the sun doesn't rise. If I don't think of a particular place or particular car, the sun doesn't rise. You see what I mean? I got a theory, man. I got a theory. They are on to me 24/7. If I don't think of the color yellow, the sun won't rise. If I don't think of a color, I get targeted and tortured. I am fed to an AI, an algorithm, trying to intercept my mind with colors and thoughts, with ideas, trying to make me recollect and enact in violation of my constitutional rights. The first thing you have to answer is, where is the federal court order to spy on me for over 32 years? Where's the court order? You don't have my consent. I don't have a contract that says you're allowed to spy on me for 32 years. And on top of that, the government bribed me a disability pension to try to keep up this act of espionage as a secret. So help me God. You get me so far. They're using colors to manipulate your thoughts. Blue, green, yellow, black. It's happening right now. They were caught spying in an act of espionage. Yellow, red, blue, black, and green. They were all caught in an act of spying, and they're trying to manipulate that. Because when I think of yellow, I think of a friend of mine that I knew a long time ago that lived in a foreign country. Is it your information? Fuck no. You should not know what the hell I am doing. I don't ask the FBI for a list of their fucking friends. I don't ask the CIA for a list of their friends. I don't ask you for a list of your friends. Do I? Hell no. But they enjoy seeking that out because they want information because they're trying to shut down their criminal act of espionage, illegal eavesdropping and wiretapping. So help me God. You get me so far? Where is a federal court order to spy on me for 32 years? Where's the contract to spy on me? And how are you collecting my thoughts is what the government has to produce. They have to produce that in court of law. Because they use me as a Manchurian candidate. They're using my eyes and ears to spy on Americans. And they have informed the state government that they're using me as a Manchurian candidate. And they have to disclose that. If they don't disclose that, it can cause a mistrial. You get me so far, okay? I have schizophrenia right now. I'm schizophrenic, but I'm giving you the facts. No one believed me 32 years ago. Now let's look at the evidence, okay? The government's covering up. I can't go to the dentist and pull out the tooth because the CIA and the FBI all call ahead of time when I leave my house. Hey, don't disclose that, because if you disclose that, that's national security. I am not national security. I was discharged a long time ago. You get me so far. Now, Is ESP possible? Fuck yeah, it's possible. Let's go right into the source. Here we go. ESP. Extrasensory perception. ESP. You get me so far? Here we go. The sad thing about it is having ESP being implanted. If you go to if I go to China and go to Russia, they're gonna hold me hostage because they know what I'm thinking, and they will snatch you up and fucking chop your head off, or take out your teeth or something like that. They will fuck you up. It does not fucking work against Americans. I don't give a fuck what they say. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Thank you, President Trump. But that's why Americans are being targeted and tortured right now, because they're trying to sell the chipping industry. So help me God, it does not fucking work. They make you an enemy of the fucking state, a hostage by foreign countries. It does not fucking work. I don't give a fuck what you're trying to do. You might as well put this inside of your mouth and just leave it there and walk around with this goddamn thing. They're going to find you. You're a fucking walking GPS. Extrasensory perception. Is it possible? Fuck yeah. ESP is possible. So help me God. Very dangerous because you can get caught behind enemy lines and they will fuck you up. Chop your head off or even fucking kill you. So help me God. Is ESP possible? And the government's trying to sell the implant industry. But they will catch you behind enemy lines and they will cut you up, chop your fucking head off, pull your teeth out to get to that fucking microchip, so help me God. The government is setting you up for failure. They're setting you up for fraudulent. They're setting you up to become an enemy of your fucking state, an enemy of your country, so help me God. Here we go.
Skeptics may scoff at the existence of ESP and other paranormal powers, but the U.S. government hasn't always been so sure. In fact, millions of dollars have been spent over several decades to find out if such human capabilities actually exist.
That pursuit is the subject of the new book, Phenomena, The Secret History of the U.S. Government's Investigations into Extrasensory Perception and Psychokinesis. We're joined by Annie Jacobson, author and a 2016 Pulitzer Prize finalist in history. Hi, Annie.
Welcome. Morning.
I think a lot of us are shocked the government actually spent money looking at this, but you also point out very quickly that in 1975, the CIA concluded that a large body of reliable evidence exists to the inescapable conclusion that ESP does exist.
I mean, it's an astonishing conclusion to draw, and it's created an enormous battleground for decades between the CIA and the Defense Department as they, inquire into this area that has so long been associated with the supernatural, with magic. And here we are, advanced science looking at it.
How did the U.S. government first get involved or interested in this kind of phenomena?
Well, like so many Defense Department programs, it all leads back to the Nazis.
Yeah, well,
always.
All roads.
And at the end of the war, military intelligence...
It all leads back to the Nazis. Okay, I want to show you a clip here. It all leads back to the Nazis. That's why you have Obama. That's why you have Obama. That's why you have Obama. Obama, where you at, Obama? Obama, and it may sound crazy, but it's not crazy. It leads back to the Nazis, right? That's why you had Obama go to Germany. That's why you had Obama go to Germany. That's why you had Obama go to Germany. Huh? It leads back to the Nazis, right? It leads back to the Nazis. That's why you had Obama talking to Germany, trying to sell Germany the act of espionage, the act of illegal eavesdropping and wiretapping. That's why Obama went to Germany.
Climate activists who are increasingly discouraged, and young people who are increasingly discouraged about our failure to maintain our commitments and take collective action to deal with this crisis. Think about Germany, and you have to deal with your legislature that will respect.
And Apple's turning down the volume. They don't want me to
was able to weather the storm.
Come on, Obama.
It was a complicated dance.
Yeah.
Watch you. We had a lot of meetings with people, Sarkozy and Berlusconi, your favorite. No, you're reserved. No? Is that fair? Yeah. So, I'm trying to imagine just how much of a leap that must have been from, in a very few years, suddenly being in the center of German politics during this very exciting.
And Apple likes turning down the volume. They control this iPad. You know, they don't want me to broadcast the information. But we know what the hell's going on, okay? And they're trying to persuade the UN that they fucked up. Trying to sell the microchip industry, the ESP, to the UN, that the government fucked up on the spying, okay? It's against the United Nations laws, the Geneva Convention laws, against the Constitution, but they're trying to persuade the UN and foreign countries that we all need to be microchip. And they're going to be fucking disasters they're going to be disasters in their country to try to sell the microchip, so help me God. You get me so far. If the shoe fits, wear it, man. It's coming. It's coming, okay? Total population control, no doubt. Okay? Total population control. The implants are here, okay? The implants are here, so help me God, okay? Let's go back to ESP now. Is it true to have ESP? ESP, is it possible? Is ESP possible? Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it is. And, you know, like I said, they're all covering up, man. They all cover up their fucking mistakes. And they fear that. But they got to face reality. And you will face fucking reality. See? You see what Apple's doing? They're trying to diminish and they're trying not to let me use their product, because usually typically you just go in here and highlight the article and it'll open up. But they're blocking that. They're breaching their contract and not allowing me to tell my story. They're tampering with this, and they're going to get sued for that. I guarantee you. You will get sued. Stop. Here we go.
Skeptics may scoff at the existence of ESP and other paranormal powers, but the U.S. government hasn't always been so sure. In fact, millions of dollars have been spent over several decades to find out if such human capabilities actually exist. That
pursuit is the subject of the new book, Phenomena, the secret history of the U.S. government's investigations into extrasensory perception and psychokinesis. We're joined by Annie Jacobson, author, 2016 Pulitzer Prize finalist in history. Hi, Annie.
Welcome.
Morning.
I think a lot of us are shocked the government actually spent money looking at this, but you also point out very quickly that in 1975, the CIA concluded that a large body of reliable evidence exists to the inescapable conclusion that ESP does exist.
I mean, it's an astonishing conclusion to draw, and it's created an enormous battleground for decades between the CIA and the Defense Department as they, inquire into this area that has so long been associated with the supernatural, with magic. And here we are, advanced science looking at it.
How did the U.S. government first get involved or interested in this kind of phenomena?
Well, like so many Defense Department programs, it all leads back to the Nazis.
Yeah, well,
always.
All roads.
And at the end of the war, military intelligence collected a cache of Nazi documents called Das Ahnenerbe. And that was Heinrich Himmler's, science into this extrasensory perception, psychokinesis. We got half, the Russians got the other half, and that led to what we know now as the psychic arms race.
Wow.
There was always a battle, though, within the intelligence community. Wasn't there about whether this was legitimate?
Always a battle. I mean, you have skeptics on the one hand who say this does not pass scientific method muster.
Right.
The experiments are not repeatable. It's pseudoscience. You have others who are in the work who insist, based on that quote you said, and there's some extraordinary success stories, locating hostages, locating lost weapons, downed aircraft. So this debate, the science versus the supernatural, has been going on for decades, and it's infinitely interesting.
Beyond ESP, you talk about something called remote viewing. What exactly is that, and what other kinds of phenomena was the government interested in pursuing?
Well, it's a great point you bring up. Remote viewing is essentially ESP under a different name. And it was done, the CIA created that term in the 70s to try to destigmatize this idea of extrasensory perception.
Oh, nice name. They even worked with people like Uri Geller, who's a name I think some of us know in this research, didn't they?
Geller was a CIA asset. We know that from the documents. I interviewed his handlers. I interviewed Geller himself. The reason he left the program was he was allegedly also working for Mossad, and that has become a great mystery over the decades.
Yeah. We talk about the various programs that have been declassified. You talk about one called Project Sunstreak. Tell us what that is.
Sunstreak, again, one of the names for this series of very similar programs that dealt with these same basic issues of, can you see things far away through a means other than the five senses, through the sixth sense, so to speak. It was a special access program, which means it had extraordinary classification measures. They kept changing the names of the programs to try to keep the Russians and the Chinese from knowing what we were doing.
Annie, did they actually try to train people to be psychic?
They did at the Defense Department, and that's where real grave problems arose. The CIA's position was, this is individualistic. This is a biological phenomena. It's physiological, and they sought to investigate. Think of the analogy of, like, I can't sing in the shower. Think what Mozart does. That's how the CIA saw psychics.
Where are we now with these types of programs?
We're back in the same place we were in the 70s, except for we have advanced technology brought into the mix now. So you have the Defense Department working on programs, but bringing in, computer technologists, neurobiologists.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Totally riveting.
The book is Phenomena. Annie Jacobson, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks, Annie.
Okay, so it is possible. And I am a walking concept of that. I'm a walking theory of that. Okay, I am entrapped. I am self-incriminating myself throughout my whole life. When I leave my door, the government knows where I'm going, turning down the street, turning left, right, going to the gym, and then being victimized by perpetrators at the gym or at the school, at the store, wherever, in my neighborhood. Okay, you want that? You want to be microchipped and implanted? That's what this world's coming to. And they're going to create disasters, floods, rollovers, vehicle rollovers, okay? And, they're trying to create disasters to sell the microchip industry. And like I said, it creates ESP. You're broadcasting what you're doing. The U.S. patent says that. But I want to disclose that, okay? It's possible, folks, okay? Whether you believe me or not, okay? It's possible, okay? We know why Americans are being targeted, okay? Why are Americans being targeted? Because they want everyone just like me, to steal your thoughts, to steal your ideas, to hijack your mind, to know where you're at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And they're having fun. At first, they microchipped your dog. You grabbed the fucking dog, microchipped his ass, and then you had your children drop it off across town as you watch the goddamn dog walk through the fucking neighborhood. Okay? You had fun with that. Now you're trying to step it up a little bit and trying to track every fucking American. The phone is enough. Okay? You don't have to be in my life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But they are. Stealing my thoughts, stealing my ideas, so help me God. I am entrapped! Entrapped! It's self-incrimination! What is self-incrimination? What is that? Let's look up self-incrimination. Self-incrimination, what is that? What is self-incrimination? What is that?
Good cops don't beat confessions out of people. But we all know of circumstances where some police officers in some circumstances have gone a bit too far, or maybe a lot too far, in trying to coerce a confession from people. And this has, traditionally at least, been such a significant problem that the founders, the framers of our Constitution, James Madison specifically, decided that they were going to prohibit this. And they were going to prohibit it by simply saying nobody can be compelled to testify against himself. And so the idea that you can beat a confession out of somebody, the idea that you can even engage in coercive tactics, the idea that you can even question somebody without first warning him that he has a right to remain silent, all of those things have followed from the Fifth Amendment. And they are a protection against those sorts of very, very intrusive and very aggressive police tactics.
This was something that ran in the veins of everyone in colonial times because they all understood the importance of being able to keep private your thoughts and beliefs, especially on topics relating to your political views and your religious views, which were things that people knew the King of England had a great interest in getting from his subjects, because if you had the wrong view on the proper allocation of power between the king and his subjects, or the wrong view on religion, things weren't going to go very well for you. And so the Fifth Amendment was one of the bedrock principles of English common law that was enshrined in the Constitution. And what it does is to set up a proper balance between the state and the individual about what the state can expect people to do by revealing their thoughts. What is it that you know? What is it you believe? What is it that you've seen? What is it that you remember? What is it that you're able to articulate? The government can't force you to reveal that to them because that robs you of the dignity that you deserve as an individual.
The Fifth Amendment is animated by a central predicate, and that central predicate is that there exists an inherently coercive environment when citizens are confronted by police. As a result, the Fifth Amendment erects certain safeguards to protect the interests of citizens, but also protect officers in the exercise of their duty.
The due process voluntariness test meant in the case of confessions arose in the 1930s in a case called Brown versus Mississippi. What happened in Brown is really instructive because it is one of the reminders.
So there you have it. So someone that's been microchipped has been cast out to society without their consent, without a federal court order, is self-incriminating themselves. And everything I do, whether I go to a bar, whether I go here, there, wherever I go, I'm self-incriminating myself in violation of my privacy, okay? And they don't have a court order to spy on me for over 32 years. There's no doubt, okay? I have power, ESP, and they have to challenge that in court and confess what the government has done to me, what the United States federal government, the Department of Defense, and its spy agencies have done to me. They have made me an asset of the fucking CIA and the fucking FBI to spy on Americans without my consent, without a federal court order for over 32 years, so help me God. So help me God. Okay? I am schizophrenic, delusional, wholly incredible. I have ESP, so help me God. So help me God. I've been implanted. Okay? So, with that said, is microchipping possible? Hell yes, it's possible. We know that microchipping is possible. They've microchipped several victims. Several victims have been microchipped. Okay? Held against their will.
Schizophrenic.
The voices feel like mine, right? It just feels like there's somebody raping you. They're inserting thoughts into your mind. You don't want them there. It's basically the same as rape. But the thing is, I can't call the cops and say, hey, I've been mine, right? If something like that happens to a woman, they can call the cops and they can get that moron that did that. The voices have called it the perfect crime. They feel they never can get caught.
My guest, Nick, says he hears voices in his head all day, every day, but says he had bet $1 million that he is not schizophrenic. Now, Nick's mom, Reza, wrote to the show 21 times pleading for help for Nick. Nick says he believes the voices stem from a microchip that was implanted in his body some years ago
after he was drugged by someone he thought was a friend.
There you have it. I mean, it's right to Dr. Phil, okay? I mean, they are really, I mean, they're microchipping. That's the motive of the government. That's why all these disasters are appearing. The motive of the government is to mark of the beast, guys. Understand that. They want to make you like me. So help me God. Okay? So help me God. People are being microchipped. So help me God. They are. Without your consent, without due process of a law, they are microchipping you and tracking your thoughts. You don't even need to have an implant to be tracked of your thoughts. It's happening with facial recognition right now. Okay? They are microchipping people. So help me God. They are microchipping people. So help me God. They are. And I'll say it again and again, as a schizophrenic should, because no one believed me. The FBI didn't believe me. The government didn't believe. Oh, fuck you out of here. You're crazy. Fuck out of here. We're not reading your mind. We're not stealing your thought. We're not targeting and torture you with silent weapons. We know the truth. The truth shall set you free. The truth shall set you free. Right? But we know that they are microchipping Americans. We know that they are microchipping Americans. See, and they're trying to block me from doing that. We know that they're microchipping Americans. We know that they're blocking what I do. They're gonna get sued, man. I'm not a fucking agent of the government. Don't try to defend myself. I am not national security, all right? Don't try to defend myself from that bullshit. We know that they are microchipping Americans.
Our constitutional journey did not stop then, and it must not stop now, Judge. And we'll be faced with equally consequential decisions in the 21st century. Can a microscopic tag be implanted in a person's body to track his every movement? There's actual discussion about that. You will rule on that, mark my words, before your tenure is over. Can brain scans be used to determine whether a person is inclined toward criminality or violent behavior? You will rule on that. And, Judge, I need to know whether you will be a justice who believes that the constitutional journey must continue to speak to these consequential decisions, or that we've gone far enough in protecting against government intrusion into our autonomy, into the most personal decisions we make. Judge, that's why this is a critical moment. There are elected officials in this government, such as Mr. DeLay, a fine, honorable, patriotic man, and others, who have been unsuccessful at implementing their agenda in the elected branches. So they've now poured their energies, as the left would if it were different, they've now poured their energies and resources into trying to change the court's view of the Constitution. And now they have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Now we know that it's possible to be implanted and tracked to steal of your thoughts. We know that already. You get me so far? I mean, think about it, guys. I mean, it's obvious, man. It's obvious. Is it possible to implant Americans? Is it possible to be implanted, tracked, and tortured? Yes, it is. And I'll say this 100 times over and over again. People are being victimized, microchipped, targeted, and tortured. There's no doubt. No doubt in my mind.
Images. Get motivated, get motivated, get motivated. Hip hop motivated, flow of wisdom on the mic with shine. Get motivated, get it right with shine. Get motivated, get motivated. Hallelujah is the highest praise, y'all. Welcome to Flow of Wisdom Radio. I'm your host, Sean Anthony. I'm so delighted to join you today, this Sunday,
June 7th, 2015, and it seemed like it's been forever since I've been on the radio, but it was just a week. I took a week off last week as I celebrated another year in life, so I'm very thankful for that, and I was able to get away for the weekend and spend some quality time with some family members and my children. So it was really great, just being able to break away for a little bit, but there's lots of stuff that has been going on, and I'm so looking forward to sharing these next couple of hours with you. When I think about the guest that I'm bringing on today, the scripture comes to my mind in Isaiah 54, verse 17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment, thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of the Lord, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord. No weapon formed against thee shall prosper.
See, Apple's tampering.
Ladies and gentlemen that are looking, sons were,
Raised in Michigan.
MEMS is the acronym. I want to welcome for the first time the Floor of Wisdom Radio, Richard Kane. Richard, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Sean. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Good to have you on. As we spoke briefly yesterday, Richard, I already told you this conversation can go many, many different ways because you have so much information, you have so much documentation backing up everything that you've shared. And I'm sure that certain questions will arise where we may deviate and go a different direction. But first, I just want you to give my listeners here a background about who you are, where you come from, what you were doing, your education and everything prior to you being targeted and getting implanted with this nanotechnology.
Okay. Well, I was born in Chicago, raised in Michigan, came out to California, attended Fresno State, eventually received my Bachelor of Science degree in Criminal Justice from Cal State LA, with a minor in pre-law, Juris Doctorate degree, Southern California Institute of Law, and a Master of Laws from Thomas Jefferson School of Law. And prior to going to law school in 2007, I'd worked over 10 years in human services field, working in group homes for residential kids, at-risk youth, working with adults from developmental disabilities. So essentially what I decided to do was, since I had gone to undergrad with the long-term goal of becoming an attorney, started law school in 2007. In 2009, actually in 2010, is when my nightmare began.
Now explain to us exactly what happened when you first realized that something wasn't right.
Well, in 2010, it's vivid as if it happened yesterday. Summer of 2010, I owned a company called Elite Attorney Services, had an office in Westlake Village, California, which is in Ventura County. And I recall just this strange coincidence. Everywhere I traveled, there seemed to be a law enforcement vehicle somewhere, no matter what time, day, or night. And being a criminal justice major, having relatives in law enforcement, that type of thing, was real obvious to me that after seeing the same pattern for about a month or two that, I'm under some type of surveillance. And the first thing I thought was they have to have the wrong person. So what I did was I went to at the time I was living in Ventura County, so where I noticed it the most was in the city of Ventura, California. So what I did was, to make sure I didn't go by myself, I called up a friend who is the president of the Ventura County chapter of the NAACP, and he's been so for over 30 years, John Hatcher. And so Mr. Hatcher and I visit the Ventura Police Department. They know him very well. They probably didn't know me, at least I assume they didn't. And so I recall showing my driver's license, saying, it appears that I'm under some type of surveillance. I believe you guys have the wrong person. I proceeded to tell them I attend the law school right down the street. I'm a law clerk at the public defender's office. I'm a Superior Court mediator, just laying out my entire background because I'm 100% sure I'm under some type of surveillance and they have to have the wrong person. That's the first thing I was thinking. I was thinking this will be a piece of cake. Here's my ID, and I know this will be over. Whatever it is I was seeing. So I recalled I think it was a corporal who was working at that time. He ran my license, and he says, well, we don't have anything on you. And if we did, if it may be another agency, which is out of our control, and if there were some type of investigation, we wouldn't be able to tell you. So we left that day, and interestingly enough, prior to that, that presence that I talked about,
And for the rest of that day, the presence disappeared. Like, I didn't see the same law enforcement, obviously marked vehicles follow me. So we went to the Oxnard Police Department, and that's where Mr. Hatcher, the president of the NAACP, he's kind of based in Oxnard. So we went to the Oxnard Police Department with the same kind of request. This is who I am. Because generally, if you're in a certain residential area, that particular law enforcement agencies have to know or are involved in some kind of way if they're following you. So we got the same thing. If we were following you, we wouldn't be able to tell you, blah, blah, blah. So that went on. And so after...
Okay, so he's been microchipped as a law student. And, you know, like I said, I mean, they do use you without your consent. And they can have you under anesthetics and slip a Mickey inside of you. You would never know that. Suture it up, suture over you, and you'd never know. And they got you tracked with Neuralink, satellite weapons and drones, neighborhood coups, stealing your thoughts with geofencing. And that's what they've done to me for over 32 years, but they're trying to deny that. The society knows what's going on. They're reading my mind. They're beating me to my destination. I'm entrapped. It's entrapment. Come on now, okay? Stop torturing me. Stop spying on me. Come to court. Confess what the government's done. It's that simple. Fix the problem. Thank you, and God bless America.